Good morning from Edinburgh. This is the final few days of the Edinburgh Fringe this year, which happens to fall pretty much on a weekend. And what I've noticed this year is one venue finishes on Saturday. I think another one finishes on Sunday. Many shows are finishing their Fringe runs 2 or 3 days before the official end of the Edinburgh Fringe, and the last day I think is going to be much diminished. And perhaps it's a good time, if you are playing almost to the end or to the end with just a few days to run, is to ask yourself what it is you want to achieve from these last couple of days. I'm hearing on my grapevine this year, my grapevine is sometimes whispers from Arthur's Seat, has become my companion for walking along most mornings if you've tuned into these videos. And it's to really look at, if there's 3 days for you to run, the positive way to look at that is to see it as a 3-day festival that you've just arrived on, and to still, if you can, if you're tired, is still to go into the energy of realising that people are arriving in Edinburgh for the last few days, and some people absolutely choose to do that. Quite often they think, and I think it might be true, that there's a bit more availability, people are leaving the city, hotel accommodation prices might be a bit cheaper, and then what happens is everybody thinks to do that, and the whole last few days are a bit rammed, particularly when it falls on a weekend. And that's what I'm hearing on the grapevine, and I've experienced that certainly at some of the many fringes I've been to before. And so there's an opportunity here to really announce your show again, to really get that out, that message out there, and to go onto social media, onto the Royal Mile, and say, we're playing for 3 days, come and see us. And to put an energy into this as if it was just 3 days, which it will be for some people, and they will be a bit open to, being flyered with no knowledge of the fringe you've just been through, even if you've just been here for a week. But quite a lot of you have been here still for 3 weeks, if not longer, and you feel tired and you feel that the days are just running out. But there really is an opportunity, if you've got the energy, is one more time to put some new images onto your flyer, or to take out your first press release with some new reviews on it, hopefully, and to say, hey, come see this show, it's playing for 3 days. Not only playing for 3 days, not it's been here all month, which is something I put in the previous video. But the purpose of this particular video is just to ask you to consider what it is then that you want to get from these 3 days. Reviews now, in terms of traditional media, and that includes websites, is a review to take away. And that can be part of what you do now to send out to the media. We've got at least one reviewer who arrived yesterday. Quite a lot of reviewers have gone home, or only played for a few days, but there may still be some up here. And just that reminder that quite a few reviewers live in the city of Edinburgh. Not everybody moves out and rents their accommodation out. They just live here, and they may well be up for some final reviews. So get the message out to your reviewers too, the days that you're playing, and the particular ask might be, we'd still like a review from you to take away, and make that quite personal if you can. You might know their background, they might be a particular dance reviewer, and say, we'd love your opinion if you can fit us in, and they might well do that. But also, it's been a reminder to me, this began probably a couple of years ago. It was kind of born in COVID, it was happening a little bit beforehand. But one of my searches revealed probably at least 2 or 3 pages of TikTok reviewers, and some of their names are going around because they've got a lot of followers and they're reviewing very responsibly, and they're getting reviews up as they walk out of a venue. So that's reviews within minutes. And so if you're looking for those kinds of reviews, contacting those people directly could be a really good thing to do if they're still up here. As I say, some of them may well live up here. So that is a real opportunity for a review to take away, and particularly for your professional journey onwards. What that's about is that TikTok reviewer may well have a CV that they work in the theatre world, that they're also stand-up comedians themselves, that they're writers. They may well have a website, but they're also much more on TikTok. And so you can even start to look at the possibility of getting professional quotes from that reviewer. And those recorded reviews can be transcribed, and then you can have them in text, and they're exactly the words that were said, just using a little app, probably on your phone, to transcribe into text what that audio or video review said. So I'd like to encourage people that are just stuck a little bit, I'm going to use that word stuck, in the traditional media, to look at who's reviewing responsibly in the digital world, and to see whether you can't take away last minute reviews, not just from anybody who's just putting their opinion out on social media, but somebody who may well be worth getting that review from, because actually behind the TikTok is a website, behind the website is a CV and a background and a profile where you can actually say you've got a review from somebody who is qualified to review your work. This can all be done in the last few days of the Fringe. And then of course, if it's not just about reviews, but it is still about getting those ticket sales even onto the last day. I've already been chatting to people yesterday, some who have already asked their venues for some free tickets, and they are putting in that first day energy again, going out onto the streets with some free tickets, because it still can be literally within minutes that someone comes out of a show who got comped in, sticks those audience reviews up, or just goes out on their own socials, which they're onto their own Facebook groups even, which quite a lot of middle-aged and older people are still on, and say, just seen the best show of my life, you should go and see it, and they're sharing that message, and that could lead to a ticket sale the next day. It's still worth being out there and flyering. That's where you really can say we're playing for 2 days and people realise they've just got a couple of days to see your show. So for you that have been here for a long time, I actually think the last few days are quite an opportunity. And for some of you that have been quite depressed by low numbers, there can be a chance to end on a high, just in terms of we had 30 in, we had 20, or we even had a full house. It probably requires one more push. Yes, you can do it. And even if it doesn't lead to a huge increase in sales, the yes you can do it, the classic kind of motivational speak, is it's good to have a memory of we really went for it on the last couple of days, and to boost that energy. So I want to encourage you, unless it suits you to wind down, and I mentioned this in a video I think yesterday, but this is more specific, is to see yourselves as part of a 3-4 day festival, whatever there is left to run, which is well worth just considering as a thing in its own right, and putting all the usual energy into getting those reviews, those ticket sales, still getting the arts industry people along, and feeling like you look back on the last couple of days as well worth the effort.